I can't really think of an intro here because I am so amazed by this figure. You ever see a droid doing a high kick and looking forward at the same time? Yeah. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Ooh, I'm keeping you on your toes. Today, let's take a look at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Q9-0 and General Lando Calrissian. When it comes to Star Wars Black Series, I usually review the whole wave together, but I've only been able to find these two at my local Walmart. The other three have evaded me. But this makes a good pair. It's old school, it's new school, and it's Star Wars. And it's been a while since I've reviewed something other than a Mandalorian figure. Looking at the packages, it's what we've become accustomed to with this line since the update. Very monochrome until you get, well, the figure itself pops out through the window, and then these splashes of color for each segment, movie, show, whatever. With the Mandalorian TV series, you get this orangey copper color, and for Return of the Jedi, we get this striking green. Nice artwork on the side. On the back, that same artwork with a bio for both. Includes figure and accessory. Both have small parts. Don't put them in your mouth. On the other side, just Star Wars logos. Some more window on top. More of the same on bottom. Here's your legalese, your barcodes, but let's see what's going on here. Let's start with Lando, just because we've gotten several iterations of him in the line, whereas this is a brand new character. Weird back tray. Oh, holding the cape in place. I forgot that was actually cloth. I don't know if it's because I haven't paid a lot of attention to this costume for Lando. I didn't realize how close this outfit was to this one. We saw this earlier with General Madine and some of the other rebel officers. The colors, the yellow stripes, well, okay, the blues of the pants don't match, but they're close. The cut of the shirt, like a short sleeve over a long sleeve. I mean, I knew later in the movie he raided Han's gear with the vest and stuff, which I'm totally expecting this to be a future figure coming up soon. I never realized how close this was. I'm also kind of expecting more rebel officers now, like Madine, even though he had the longer tunic, I think, and then different collar piece, some different, oh, the big honking gloves, didn't he? And looking at the figure and all those little details, this right here pops out nicely, the silver paint on top of it. Double the pockets, you have one on the short sleeve, you have one on the long sleeve. This is for breath mints, this is for cell phone. And I'm looking again, let's get a freaking close-up of that. The colors used here and how nice it is applied, I really like that because it also carries on to down here. I love the little details there. Some silver to the belt buckle that goes around to more pouches because everybody needs more pouches for your headphones and for your toothpaste and toothbrush. Phone charger here on the back because you don't need it all the time. Might as well put it on the back of the belt. Extra Millennium Falcon keys in case somebody takes off with it. And then some kind of snack. Nice plain details to the pants. And I say nice plain because it's just supposed to be pants. There's nothing fancy about them. The fly with the seam runnings, a little bit of wrinklage, a little bit of bagginess, yellow stripe running down to, again, just a non-extravagant boot. The holster and strap running around the torso, I did not expect that to be a completely separate piece. It is not glued or pinned in anywhere. So again, if you're using this for a custom for other rebel officers, this will come right off. Hell, there's not even a groove sculpted or anything. It just lays really well. Then as far as likeness goes, it's definitely Lando. I like the hair sculpt. I like the face. The photo reel is a bit shiny, like we've been seeing with a lot of Black Series. I may try to hit that with some dull coat, knock it down a bit. This eyebrow is raised a little high or shaped a little different from this one. Just enough to make it look odd. Well, at the same time, a little personality, but odd. Then there is the cloth cape. I went back and looked at the promo images and it seemed a bit stiff there. I don't know if it's because it's been sitting in the package or something, but the way it lays, like this, it doesn't bug me. In fact, it feels kind of natural as long as you keep it back where it was in the package. You try to bring it over his arm or something and it gets a little bit, you know, 1/12 scale cloth looking. It flares out right here. But if you bring that part like this over the shoulder slightly, get it to lay right there. That's not bad. It bunches up slightly here, but it has some natural looking wrinkles to it. Well, okay, maybe too wrinkly here with the line going across there. I'm talking about these folds going down. Going over articulation, there seems to be a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, but no ball at the bottom like we've been seeing with a lot of figures lately. So it's kind of hindered. Looks up, looks down, some tilt though. Rotation. Peg into the torso allows for swivel all the way around. Hinge at the shoulder comes up to there. Hinge and swivel at the elbow, cut deep to allow for movement past 90. Then that rotates. Swivel at the wrist, trigger finger, hinge up and down. It's kind of restricted because of this cuff coming over, but hey, he got the right direction. I'm happy. Dumbbell at the mid-torso, I think, comes forward, arcs back. Some tilt, some tilt. Hula hoop. Rotation. Ball coming out to the hip allows forward, goes back, out, not bad. Swivel at the thigh. Hinge and swivel at the knee does, well, if you push, it does get 290. Rotates, and then the ankle hinges back, hinges front, forward-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Lando comes with this pistol, and I guess like the costume, I've never paid much attention to this. I didn't realize how real-worldy it feels, especially the back half, and oh, my finger in there makes you realize how small this is. I don't think he used a gun in this look, did he? But now he can. I haven't even tried this in the holster. Yep, nice and tight, not gonna fall out. Lando stands at about 5 7/8 to the top of his hair, which puts this figure right on par with the rest of the Landos we've gotten in this line. And also works for that briefing scene if you got the indoor Han and Leia and then removed the jacket and poncho. I need to replace Han's noggin like I did Leia's with a casting cave head. Lando adds to the original trilogy shelf. Let's add to the Mandalorian shelf with 0. Going through the bottom because that's what we do. Why they set them so far down in the tray? That's odd. Watch, when you pull it out of the tray itself, the antenna goes through, so it's probably better. Yeah, there you go. Pull the feet first, slides out. Oh, and I think I'm in love. I don't know how else to put it. The nice sculpt, very accurate. The colors that pop through, the paint job, the wear and tear in places. But most of all, it's the engineering. This figure does way more than I thought it'd do. The sculpt, or well, I guess the design from the show is very protocol-esque. Usually when you see this body shape, some part or piece came from something like C-3PO. Now, I'm not saying it looks exactly the same. In fact, none of these parts are reused from C-3PO, but there's just design elements that evoke, you know, that classic look. Around the waist, there are the wires going through. Now, they didn't paint it on the back, which is kind of a common thing, but they did on the front. There is some red, there is some blue. Well, okay, maybe that's all the C-3PO-like qualities. I see this, I see Star Wars, and I think, oh, it's a dude in a costume. But the shoulder pads being separate piece, you can see kind of the gear look up under there at the shoulder, the wires running out from the bicep down to the lower arm. Love the hips. I don't know why, it looks mechanical. Plate details running down, the seam line running in the middle, the crotch piece having some nice detail that I hadn't noticed before. Kind of like a CD holder. That's convenient. Get below the knee and it turns even more robot-esque. It gets thin. You can see the details on the outside, the ankles even more so. Coming around, something there on top, but just, I don't know, something interesting to look at all over the figure. And then the head carries on a long tradition of bug type qualities in droids with the big eyes. And it's not a mouth. Okay, I know it's not a mouth. Where a mouth would be is very... See some nice details sculpted up there on the inside, stuff that I didn't notice in the show. Getting it in action figure form makes me appreciate it all the more. I don't think it would have broke. It's a bit rubbery, and it seems like a separate piece plugged in. But then for paint, it has this silver color to the eyes. I wish it was a little bit more chromy, but this is not bad for mass market action figure. The red and yellow on these wires pop against the more natural colors of the overall body. They are a softer material too, and I kind of worry about bending the elbow, but at the same time, I haven't had a problem with it yet. Oh yeah, it goes further if I turn that plate that way. The slight rustiness painted on in places around the top, coming through and over and down to here. That gold color, it's very tarnished, which makes it look awesome with the rest of the color scheme. And that rust touch-up runs to about right here. And then, like I pointed out, the color of the wires here, you get below the waist and it's fairly clean. In fact, it's all the way clean. There's no paint below the waist as far as I can tell. The web gear is a completely separate piece. You could probably take it off if you remove some parts. On top of that, you have some darker browns, some silver, a little bit of wash, make it look aged, worn. Is that some green? Maybe a greenish brown running all the way around. But while I like the overall look, well, okay, I can't even say that. I love the overall look. Like I mentioned, it's the engineering that gets me. There is, it's so hard to tell, it goes so far up in there, but I think there's a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck. ball joint at the bottom. Beautiful range of movement, especially for a droid. I did have a problem out of the package to where it would go further this way than, well, and now it's doing it again. If you turn the neck, then that evens out the range for some reason. I'm guessing that's a slot at the bottom instead of a circle. I don't know. Buries the chin though. I also didn't expect a butterfly joint with nice range forward and back. The shoulder pad is a rubber piece that goes down to a ring around the shoulder so it moves with the arm as you rotate. Also gets out of the way when you raise the arm up. I also didn't expect a forearm swivel. Dumbbell joint in the torso gives some droida hoop action. And then the lower legs, because of how exposed, naked they feel, you can see all the joints, which means there's a lot of clearance there. It doesn't get past 90. Again, we've been seeing a lot of that with the Black Series, but you can see the peg going up into the upper leg. And that especially helps the ankle because of all this. Wait, is that a clear pin? Am I seeing blue through there? But that allows for full ankle movement, both forward and back. Look at that. That's better than a lot of Spider-Mans I have. It's just cool to have that much movement in a droid. If you remember years past, there was a lot of hindered movement. Here, it's not a problem. Speaking of that, articulation-wise, let's go over everything we just went over for the most part. Dumbbell joint, ball joint gets you looking up that high, gets you looking down that low. So much tilt. Looks side to side. Butterfly joint, beautiful range back and forth. Outside of that is a swivel, for some reason, gets locked up right here. I can push through, and there's a snap that goes around and then is fine there. But if I go back, it gets snagged right there. I don't know if there's a detent or what's happening. Outside of that is a hinge that raises up to there. Hinge and swivel at the elbow gets up past 90 and then rotates in and out. Forearm swivel, swivel at the wrist below that, and then a hinge up and down on a trigger finger hand, and look how much range that has. And then side to side hinge on the left. Dumbbell joint at the torso, so hula hooping. Okay, this is sculpted to come down so it crashes when you try to crunch, but tilt, 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 side, side, side. Ball coming out to the hip, goes there, goes back, oh, out. Oh, so good. Swivel at the thigh, hidden by that armor plate. Hinge and swivel at the knee. Oh, there's a clear peg there too. Got some K2SO action going on. Goes back to there. Swivels. Ankle hinges to the back all the way. Hinges to the front almost all the way. Forward facing pin for rocker. Zero comes with this blaster, and I did notice this in the show that it looked very much like Boba Fett's blaster. It's not exact, but close enough, especially that early in the series when we hadn't seen Boba Fett. It was just kind of a callback. Pulling it out of the package, it was bowed right here, and I thought, well, weapons are usually a softer material. I'm just going to grab that, bend it back, and it stressed it. This is actually a fairly stiff plastic, and it doesn't like to bend. I'm afraid if I bend it anymore, I'm going to snap it off, which makes me kind of nervous because of this small hand and these damn grips where you can't just stick it in and rotate. You got to work around fingers and get it straight in there. And he looks good holding it. It's just kind of a bear to get in there. Zero stands at about 5 15/16 to the top of the head and about 6.5 inches to the top of the antenna. Package was deceiving because he was packed low. So I thought, man, that's a short figure. But he's actually not that much shorter than the Black Series or Mofex Mandalorians. Puts him taller than some other droids that aren't exactly good guys. And then just because they were standing here, indoor Han and indoor Leia. So at the end of the day, oh man, it's always a good day when I get to add to my Star Wars shelf. Both figures just do what I want them to do, even if they didn't do those things when we saw them in the movies or shows. Lando in general gear wasn't the most action-oriented. He was in the briefing, then he was in the hangar. Maybe he did other adventures in the general uniform when he had to, pull rank on people. And even though Zero didn't jump right into the thick of things in the Jailbreak episode, the figure leaves it up to your imagination because it can do so much more than I expected. Don't let my excitement over Zero make you think that I am not happy to put this Lando in the display, use him in pictures, because Lando's a main character. I needed this look on my shelf. But Hasbro knocked it out of the park with Zero. I mean, it's crazy how much I love this thing. Not only because it's Star Wars and a droid, but the engineering involved, the action figuriness. Get off me. The toy aspect is also what I love about all this, and boy, I'm gonna need another one to customize around, mess around with, and oh man, wasn't he blown apart and still on the Razor Crest in Season 2? Do I need another one for parts? If you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. And I know it's kind of silly to be this crazy in love over a figure of a droid that was in one episode of The Mandalorian, but man, this is just a fun figure to pose around, to play with. Just throw it in there, plop it down, and there it is. The ankle going forward that much helps so much.